This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are in San Luis Obispo today, and we are joined by the mayor of that beautiful city. Her name is Jan Marx. And south of us is a community called Nipomo, and right below Nipomo is a refinery. It's known as the Phillips 66 Santa Maria Refinery. What is the refinery doing today? What is its purpose, its mission?
Well, it refines oil, crude, into a gasoline that can be used in cars and things like that. And they receive all of their crude oil by pipe.
Okay, and so that use seems to be one that is not of concern at this stage. Is that accurate?
Well, yeah, as long as the pipe doesn't break.
Right, of course.
That, but as long as it's in good shape, and so far they have not had any problems.
We know, though, that there is a proposal to expand this Santa Maria refinery.
Right.
How would that expansion occur?
Well, what's proposed is the construction of 1.3 miles of train track in 6 spurs, which would allow the refinery to receive Bakken and Alberta tar sands oil, crude rather, by train. And
we've heard that term tar sands a lot lately because of the Keystone Pipeline debate. And what the proponents of that pipeline would like to see is have tar sands go from Canada down into the Gulf, to Louisiana. What we've learned about tar sands and Bakken from North Dakota crude, it's particularly flammable. Is that accurate, Mayor?
Well, my understanding is that it is particularly flammable, but part of the reason is that they have to add a diluent in order to make it flow. It's stickier, it's more viscous than regular crude. So in order to make it flow so that they can get it into these rail cars, these tankers, they have to add a diluent. It's kind of like kerosene.
I understand.
And the combination is way more flammable.
And we have seen some very serious train accidents recently, some dealing with a crude that explodes.
Right.
I think there was one in Canada a couple of years ago. I mean, there was the Amtrak train in Philadelphia, but I don't think that was oil driven. But we've had an increase in accidents as a result of these types of transports.
Right, and the problem with, well, there's several problems that you referenced, but the problem with when these oil cars derail is that if they do so because of one of these the cars banging into each other, they tend to explode. They don't just leak; they tend to explode. So it's really like a firebomb. And
we have seen such firebombs. I mean, there have been some very serious incidents resulting in a lot of death. I mean, bona fide death. There was the Lac-Mégantic explosion in Quebec back in July of 2013. 72-car freight train carrying crude oil derailed, killing 47 people. A lot of souls lost their lives. So with regard to Phillips 66, the crude, the tar sand, would not come via pipe, but it would be via rail. And that 1.3 miles that would result at the plant would allow them to accept those rail cars.
Right, because what they're going to do is, what they're imagining is all the way through the state of Washington, all the way through the state of Oregon, all the way through the state of California, either from the north or from the south. They're going to be bringing these 4 to 6 trains, and each one is about 1 mile to 1.5 miles long. And they're going to be bringing these and then storing the cars with the crude in them until they can actually refine them, and then they're going to put the refined oil back into the cars and send them wherever they're going to go. And so they're kind of the spur project is kind of like a storage unit. So without the spurs, they'll have no place to put
I understand that you have some serious concerns about that crude and oil traveling down the state of California. Specifically, if you look at lines coming from Salinas, which is in Monterey County, down through San Luis Obispo to, we'll call it Nipomo, those lines, experts have indicated, are in need of repair. Is that accurate?
Well, there's been an environmental impact report that's been done that points out $174 million worth of repair. I mean, some of the switches are even still done manually, not by computer, that would need to be done in order to allow one passenger train to go all the way from Los Angeles to San Francisco.
So right now that doesn't happen?
Right now, no. Right now those repairs still would need to be done, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's been no talk at all about the safety or the condition of the railroad tracks themselves.
So what you're saying is that passengers to this date cannot go along those lines without repairs?
Well, one passenger train does go, the Coast.
Okay.
Yeah, the Coast Starlight. If you get a chance, it's wonderful. It's Amtrak. We want to put in another train that's the Coast Daylight.
Okay.
And so the reason that we know about the need for these repairs is because when I say we, it's the Coast Rail Coordinating Committee. We're negotiating with Union Pacific, and they won't give permission for us to use the tracks for one more passenger train until the state of California makes these repairs on the track.
Well, what about 5 more trains a week carrying crude? Because that is the proposal. So we're not going to have one more passenger train, we know that, but what about 5 or more additional trains a week bearing this crude?
Right, they're a lot heavier, obviously, but the other thing is that part of the infrastructure that has to be improved are these trestles. Like there's a trestle over Stenner Creek that was built in the 1890s.
This is in San Luis Obispo City?
It's just north. It's actually on the Cal Poly campus land. And at the foot of that bridge is all of the city's water treatment plant.
And so...
And that bridge was built in the 1890s. You know, it needs to be reinforced.
And you've explained well your concerns, specifically as they relate to the city of San Luis Obispo, that you believe that this city is uniquely situated to be especially vulnerable because of what you're describing. Could you elaborate?
Sure. Well, San Luis Obispo is at the base of the Cuesta Grade, which is a very curvy, mountainous wilderness area. It's part
beautiful.
Of it's beautiful, but it just had a giant wildfire
the
up there.
Fire.
The Cuesta Fire, over close to 3,000 acres, went up in about 4 days, and that was started by just a little spark. So, because of the drought, our greenbelt is tinder dry. The area on the Cuesta Grade is considered one of the most dangerous in terms of wildfire hazard, as was proved by this fire. Also, it's been identified as one of the 5 most dangerous in terms of derailment in the state. And that's because it's very, very curvy. The train has to go about 8 to 10 miles an hour in order not to just flip right off the track.
As we speak today, the Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors has come out against the Phillips 66 project.
Right.
The LA City Council has come out against.
Right.
But the project is in San Luis Obispo County,
right,
which has not taken a position. And
right,
they are the folks that need to take the position one way or the other.
Right. The San Luis Obispo Board of Supervisors has got land use authority. They generally railroad matters are preempted by federal law. However, with the rail spur expansion, its land use authority, will they grant the permit for the expansion to take place?
And you have taken a strong position against, as has the entire San Luis Obispo City Council.
Right.
So I hope that you will come back and we will talk about this further. It's a very important issue facing the Central Coast. Her name is Jan Marx, and she is the mayor of San Luis Obispo, where we are today. And this is Charter Local Edition.